You can give her flowers, send her messages every day, always be available, do everything right, and still watch her drift away. You can swear you love her, promise to change, say you would do anything for her, and still feel like something invisible is slipping through your fingers. The truth is harsh, but necessary. Most men don't really understand what a woman truly wants. Not because women are complicated or irrational, but because female desire works on a frequency no one ever taught you to understand. David Buss, an evolutionary psychologist from the University of Texas, spent more than 30 years studying the mechanisms of human attraction. What he discovered challenges the romantic fantasy many men have carried since their teenage years. In his book, The Evolution of Desire, Buss explains that women's preferences are not random emotions or social inventions. They are survival algorithms shaped by millions of years of natural selection. The female brain evolved to detect clear signals of value, protection, and real investment. Not sweet words, not empty promises, but behaviors, patterns, energy. The things you communicate even before you speak. The problem is that you were trained to please, to be useful, to prove your worth through visible effort and constant availability. And that is exactly what often kills attraction. While you are trying to prove your value, she has already decided within seconds, unconsciously, whether you trigger the instinct that makes her want to stay. That instinct does not respond to logic. It responds to precise emotional triggers that most men completely ignore. In the next few minutes, you will discover the 3 pillars that shape female satisfaction. These are not guesses, not opinions. They are patterns identified by evolutionary psychology, the neuroscience of desire, and decades of research on human behavior. 3 elements that, when missing, turn any relationship into silent frustration, and when present, create a connection she cannot fully explain, but also cannot walk away from. Pay attention, because what you are about to read can change the way she looks at you forever. Chapter 1. Emotional security, the invisible foundation of desire. She may never tell you directly. She might not even know how to explain it in words, but there is a feeling every woman looks for before she truly gives herself to a man. And that feeling has nothing to do with passion, butterflies, or dramatic love confessions. What she wants first is to be able to breathe around you, to lower her guard, to feel she doesn't need to stay on constant alert, trying to predict your mood, your intentions, or your next move. That is called emotional security. Without it, no attraction survives. An emotionally unstable man does not create desire. He creates tension. When you explode over small things, when your mood shifts without warning, when she never knows if she will meet the caring version of you or the distant one, her brain goes into protection mode. She cannot relax. And a woman who cannot relax around you will never connect with you deeply. She might stay for a while, out of need, habit, or fear of being alone. But true commitment, the kind that turns a relationship into something solid, will never be there. Because she does not feel safe. And emotional security is the ground where female desire grows. In 2017, a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology confirmed this idea. Researchers found that emotional predictability in a partner is one of the strongest indicators of female satisfaction in long-term relationships. This is not about being boring. It is about consistency, about being the same man on Tuesday morning as you are on Saturday night, about not turning every disagreement into a battlefield, about showing through repeated actions that she can trust who you are because you do not change depending on the situation. Many men confuse emotional stability with weakness. They think being calm means being submissive. They think controlling their reactions means suppressing everything and accepting anything. That is not true. An emotionally centered man is not someone who never feels anger, frustration, or jealousy. He feels all of it, but he is not controlled by those emotions. He processes, breathes, and chooses how to respond instead of simply exploding. This ability to stay centered when everything around him feels chaotic is one of the most attractive qualities a man can develop, because it sends a powerful message to the female instinct. This man can handle pressure. This man will not fall apart. This man is a safe harbor. Neuroscience explains what happens inside her body when that safety is present. When a woman feels emotionally protected, her brain begins to release oxytocin. the hormone responsible for bonding and emotional connection. It is the same chemical released during physical touch, during sex, during moments of deep intimacy. Without that release, desire may exist on the surface, but it never turns into something lasting. She may find you attractive, she may enjoy your company, but that feeling of belonging, of wanting to stay, of choosing you every day, that only grows when her nervous system recognizes that she is in a safe environment, and that environment is you. Now pay close attention, because here lies one of the biggest male mistakes. Every woman will test your emotional stability. It is not cruelty, it is not conscious manipulation. It is an evolutionary verification mechanism running on autopilot. She will create small conflicts. She will ask questions that feel like traps. She will observe how you react when you are tired, irritated, or under pressure. These tests exist because the female brain needs evidence before investing emotionally in someone. She needs to know if you truly are who you appear to be, or if you will reveal a different face when things become difficult. The man who passes these tests is not the one who never makes mistakes. It is the one who does not lose his essence when he makes them. He recognizes the error, adjusts his course, and stays steady, without drama, without playing the victim, without blaming her. The question is simple. When she looks at you, what does her body feel? Relief or tension? Calm or anxiety? A desire to move closer or an urge to protect herself? The answer lies in your consistency, in how you handle bad days, in the energy you bring when you enter a room. Emotional security is not declared. It is demonstrated every day, in every reaction, every silence, every choice to stay in control when it would be easier to lose it. This is the first pillar. Without it, nothing that comes next will stand. Chapter 2. Direction and Purpose. The magnetism of a man who knows where he is going. No woman wants to be the center of your life. This may sound counterintuitive, especially if you grew up believing that love means putting the person you love above everything else. But reality works differently. When you make a woman your reason for living, your main project, the most important thing you have, something inside her begins to pull away. It is not ingratitude, it is not coldness. It is the female instinct recognizing a dangerous pattern. A man without his own direction is a man who will drain her energy to fill his emptiness. And no woman wants to carry that weight. The most attractive men do not have space in their lives for a woman to be the center, because that space is already occupied by a purpose, by goals that existed before her and will continue even if she leaves, by a path that does not depend on her validation to keep moving forward. This does not mean ignoring her or treating her as something secondary. It means being clear about where you are going and making her understand that you are inviting her on that journey, not asking her to define it for you. That difference may seem small, but it changes everything. In 1943, Abraham Maslow published a paper that would change psychology forever. In his hierarchy of needs, Maslow showed that self-actualization, the pursuit of one's highest potential, is the highest human need. What many people fail to notice is how this directly impacts romantic attraction. A man pursuing self-actualization radiates an energy that cannot be faked. He has direction, momentum, a fire in his eyes that shows he is building something. This energy is deeply attractive to the female mind, not because women simply want money or status, but because this posture signals something fundamental. This man does not need me to feel complete. And, paradoxically, that is exactly what makes her want to be part of his life even more. When you have no purpose, you become heavy. You cling. You turn her into your only source of meaning. Every message she does not answer becomes a crisis. Every night she does not spend with you feels like a threat. Every sign of her independence creates anxiety because deep down you know, without her, you feel like you have nothing. This energy can be felt. No matter how hard you try to hide it, she senses that you are an empty container trying to fill yourself through her. And that pushes her away, not because she does not like you, but because the weight is too much. No one wants to be someone else's entire world. Everyone wants to be part of a life that already has meaning. The opposite of this is the man with ambition, the one who wakes up with a clear list of what he needs to do, the one who is chasing a vision that goes beyond the relationship, the one who treats his career, his body, his mind, and his friendships as projects that deserve daily attention. This man does not need a woman to feel valuable. He already is. And when he chooses to give her his attention, it means something. Because she knows his time is limited, his energy is valuable, and his focus is selective. Being chosen by someone who does not need to choose anyone creates a completely different level of attraction. Ask yourself, if she disappeared from your life tomorrow, what would remain? What would keep you moving forward? What would make you get out of bed? If the answer is nothing or I don't know, then you have found exactly where you need to start working. This is the second pillar. A woman needs to see that you are going somewhere, that you have a life beyond her, that your existence does not depend on her presence to have meaning. Without this, you become a trap. With this, you become a destination she wants to reach. Chapter 3: Physical Presence and Sexual Tension. The Art of Being Desired. Without tension, there is no romantic attraction. There can be affection, there can be friendship, there can be admiration. But that desire that makes a woman think about you when she is alone, that makes her body react when you come closer, that makes her want to touch you and be touched, that only appears when there is polarity between you. A masculine energy that contrasts with her feminine energy. A silent dance of closeness and distance. Looks that say more than words. Pauses filled with possibility. Most men destroy this tension without realizing it. The mistake usually comes from fear. Fear of looking aggressive. Fear of being rejected. Fear of ruining the friendship. So the man behaves in a neutral way. He avoids physical contact. He avoids long eye contact. He avoids anything that could be interpreted as sexual interest. He wants to play it safe. He wants to earn her trust first, build a solid base, and only later reveal his intentions. The problem is that while he waits for the perfect moment, her brain has already placed him in a category that is almost impossible to escape. The category of harmless men, of nice friends, of good guys who will never trigger the instinct she does not even consciously control. In 2011, researchers from the University of Virginia published a study in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology that explains this clearly. They found that women showed greater attraction to men whose feelings were somewhat ambiguous compared to men who made it completely obvious how much they liked them. Uncertainty activates dopamine. Predictability often reduces desire. When she knows exactly how you feel, when you are always available and always showing interest, her brain stops releasing the neurotransmitters linked to attraction. There is no mystery, no pursuit, nothing to chase, and female desire needs something to chase. Physical presence does not mean being invasive or disrespectful. It means taking up space consciously. It means not apologizing for existing. It means maintaining eye contact when she speaks instead of looking away out of nervousness. It means touching her arm naturally during a conversation without hesitation. It means reducing the distance between you without appearing desperate. These small gestures communicate what words often cannot. They show that you are a man with desire, that you see her as a woman, that there is an energy between you that goes beyond friendship. The man who ends up in the friend zone is the one who hides his masculinity, the one who tries to be accepted before being desired, the one who puts her approval above his own sexual expression. The man who awakens desire does the opposite. He makes it clear from the beginning that there is intention there, not in a rude or rushed way, but in a grounded and present way. He does not act like just a colleague or a brother. He acts like a man who recognizes her femininity and is not ashamed to show that he is attracted to it. This clarity of intention, when combined with confidence and good calibration, is what separates the men she hugs with affection from the men she pulls toward herself with desire. Sexual tension is a language spoken with the body, with pauses, with the way you hold silence instead of filling it with nervous words. When you master this language, everything changes. She starts looking at you differently. She begins to notice your movements. She starts wondering, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you going to do next? That uncertainty is the fuel of attraction. And creating that uncertainty is a skill any man can learn as long as he is willing to let go of the harmless, nice guy posture and step into his role as a masculine presence in her life. Conclusion: what separates the man? She forgets from the man she cannot leave. Now you know the 3 pillars: emotional security, direction and purpose, physical presence, and sexual tension. 3 elements that sound simple when explained, yet most men spend their entire lives without developing them. Not because they are incapable, but because no one ever showed them how female desire really works. They were raised to believe that love is earned through visible effort, constant dedication, daily proof that they deserve to be chosen. And that belief turned them into exactly the type of man women respect, but do not desire. Robert Greene spent years studying the patterns of history's greatest seducers. In The Art of Seduction, he reveals a truth that contradicts everything you were taught about relationships. The men who left a mark on extraordinary women never tried to please. They never chased approval. They never placed themselves in the position of needing to prove their worth. Instead, they created intense emotional experiences. They led the interaction instead of reacting to it. They understood that seduction is not about giving her what she asks for, it is about awakening something she did not even know she wanted. This understanding changes everything. Because when you stop trying to conquer and start creating emotional states, the dynamic completely shifts. What you do with this knowledge from now on will define the kind of man you become. You can watch this, agree with everything, and tomorrow return to the same old patterns. You can stay predictable. You can continue overwhelming women with excessive attention. You can keep hiding your masculinity out of fear of seeming inappropriate. Or you can decide that this is the turning point, the moment you look at your old behaviors and consciously choose to leave them behind. The moment you take responsibility for the reactions you create in women and begin to adjust your actions strategically. There is no magic here. There is only a deep understanding of mechanisms that were always operating, but that you never saw. The woman who lost interest was not too complicated. The relationship that failed was not fate. The rejection you experienced did not happen because you are not good enough. It happened because you were playing a game without knowing the rules. Now you know them. The question is whether you will use this knowledge or let it disappear among so many other videos you watched and forgot. I'm going to be direct with you. What I showed here are the fundamentals. These are the basic pillars that support female attraction. But there is a level above this. Specific communication techniques that activate emotional triggers in seconds. Ways to use body language to create tension without saying a single word. Methods to guide an interaction from the first glance to deep connection with almost surgical precision. This advanced knowledge is what I gathered in the Seduction Code, a complete system that goes beyond theory and gives you practical tools you can use today, in your next conversation, on your next date. This is not generic content you find anywhere. These are strategies I developed after years of studying behavioral psychology, neuroscience, and attraction dynamics. Strategies that work because they operate at the level of instinct, not logic. If you want to take the next step and truly master this art, the link is in the description and in the pinned comment. The choice is yours. 3 pillars, millions of years of evolution coded into female instinct. One single objective in this video, to make you understand that attraction is not luck. It is not looks. It is not money. It is strategy. It is internal mastery. It is the ability to become the kind of man she cannot ignore, even if she tries. You now have the information. What remains is action.